Have you ever panicked when a stock surged while you hesitated? Or felt pressure to join an investment because everyone else was talking about it? That gut reaction has a name: FOMO. Today you will learn exactly how fear of missing out hijacks your financial choices and why it often costs more than you think. Stay with me because later I will give you three simple questions to stop impulse investing and one short phrase you can use right when FOMO hits. No hype, no tricks. Just practical steps that actually change what you do with money. FOMO sounds like slang, but in finance it becomes a decision trap. At its core, FOMO is a social emotion. It pushes you to act not from need, but from a fear of being left out. That matters because money decisions should be driven by goals and probabilities, not by what others are doing. Common outcomes include chasing hot trends, buying at peaks, and abandoning well thought out plans. The hidden cost is not just lost returns, it is stress, poor sleep, and a weaker sense of control. Today, I want you to notice the pattern. When you feel urgency linked to social cues, pause. I promise three stopping questions and a one phrase anchor. That promise is coming, but first we need to see where FOMO shows up in everyday life, because recognizing it is the first defense. If you can name the moment, you can change the moment. That is the cheap advantage most people ignore. FOMO is not only about stocks, it shows up in small, everyday spending. Picture this: you walk into a cafe and a friend raves about a new gadget. You buy the gadget to feel included. Later, you realize you barely use it. That small impulse repeats across meals, apps, subscriptions, and luxury buys. These micro decisions add up. The money lost is quiet but real. The emotional return is louder than the financial one. In investments, the pattern is similar. A colleague posts a big win and you buy in without research. Or you top up an app because you feel left out of a trend. These moments are the low drama fires that burn long-term plans. If you want a practical change, start by tracking 1 week of impulse buys. Record what triggered the buy. That simple journaling reveals patterns faster than any article. This is also where FOMO ties to identity and status, which we will explore in the workplace story later. Several psychological forces make FOMO powerful. First is social proof. We assume others know something we don't. Second is scarcity bias. If it's limited, we think value must be high. Third is loss aversion mixed with regret avoidance. People fear the feeling of missing out more than they value steady gains. Combine these with dopamine hits from likes and notifications, and you have a potent recipe. Our brains were not designed for modern social amplification. Algorithms accelerate signals and dilute context. That is why an ordinary tip can feel like an emergency. Recognizing the trigger is one part. The other is learning to reframe the signal as noise until proven otherwise. Later, I'll walk through case studies that show how these biases play out in real portfolios. For now, notice how each trigger has a simple counter: skepticism, delay, and evidence requirements. Those three counters will reappear when we discuss clear techniques. Stories help us see patterns. I want to tell a short workplace story. Mark was a mid-level engineer who equated success with big tech. Stock wins. Every time someone at the office mentioned a fast gain, he felt invisible. He started trading after hours to keep up. For a while, he matched peers, but over time, he took bigger risks and lost steady savings. His identity as the informed colleague pushed him away from his long-term goals. This is identity-driven FOMO. On the flip side, a couple of investors who ignored office hype and stuck to plans compounded wealth quietly. The lesson is not to blame social circles. It is to anchor identity to your plan instead of other people's recent wins. also updates identity language. When you adopt a plan first identity, you stop measuring self by the latest headline. Pair the anchor with a simple rule. If you can't explain the decision in one sentence tied to a goal, do not act. That keeps choices concise and accountable. Over time, the anchor builds a habit loop. Cue the feeling, perform the sentence, then execute a rule like the 3 questions. These small steps change behavior more reliably than trying to outthink crowd psychology with spreadsheets alone. The deepest defense against FOMO is self-awareness. Awareness means noticing triggers, patterns, and the stories you tell. Start with 2 habits. First habit is tracking. Log impulses and the trigger. Second habit is review. Weekly check of decisions versus goals. Combine tracking with community